Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Absolute Resonance Part 8 based on novel. So let's start. Knowledge of Li Luo's 5th grade water resonance spread throughout the school very quickly. This naturally became the hottest topic of discussion. Who would have thought that Li Luo would manage to rise from the ashes? An acquired resonance, this is something I've never heard of. I heard that it was a treasure left behind by his parents. It's clearly something rarely seen. Having great parents truly makes me green with envy. I'm so jealous. Well, it's not that amazing. After all, it's just a 5th grade water resonance. It's not that exceptional, and the final examination is barely a month away. How can he possibly catch up to those at the top with so little time? Yeah. He may have beaten Baekun and his goons, but those 3 aren't even in the top 10 of the first school. I heard the top 10 are all at least at the 7th seal stage. Song Yunfeng and Lu Qing'e are the 2 scariest ones out of the lot, apparently they are at the 8th seal or higher already. Li Luo has already squandered the most crucial time for growth. I don't think he can catch up in a month. Whilst everyone was fervently making Li Luo the topic of discussion, the man himself had just finished a round of cultivation and was quickly making his way out the academy. Even though I beat Baekun today, it was more draining than I expected. If not for borrowing the light resonance power of my resonance to blind Baekun at the crucial moment, I might have taken even more time than I wanted. Whilst on his carriage back home, Li Luo continued to analyze the day's battles. He wasn't looking relaxed as expected. Instead, a dissatisfied and solemn expression was plastered over his face. At this rate, his current strength coupled with the water-light resonance and his expertise at resonance arts would easily allow him to contend with a 6th seal stage cultivator. However, if he were to encounter a 7th seal stage expert, his chances of victory would be extremely low. This is not enough. This is far from enough, he murmured to himself. His aim was to enter the Astral Sage College. The number of hopefuls that were competing with him were too many to count. If he was not at the top, his odds would be too low. The biggest constraint that everyone had mentioned was his lack of time. Barely a month was left before the crucial moment. If he wanted to catch up, he would have to quickly improve his resonant power, and it looked like tempering his water-light resonance was the only way. Only then would he have the confidence to face off against Lu Qing'e and those other elites. The key problem still lay in tempering his water-light resonance to the 6th grade. This would be no easy matter. I guess I need to have a discussion with elder sister Cai Wei. Li Luo's lips were puckered at that very thought. He had this strange feeling that if he were to mention needing huge amounts of 5th grade spirit liquids and purifying lights to Cai Wei, she might very well just devour him alive. The old manor, the administrative office. Cai Wei was currently sitting at her table, carefully inspecting the book of records. She was dressed in a pale yellow robe and her egg-shaped face was enthralling as always, possessing an air of grace. She had already been at work for quite a while and was getting tired, hence she reached forward and gingerly placed the book down on the table. Who? It was as though a weight had been lifted off her shoulders as she gently heaved a sigh of relief, looking clearly more relaxed. Wang. It was at this point that the door suddenly swung open and Li Luo strode in with gusto. Elder sister Cai Wei. Bang! When the door was slammed, Li Luo noticed the relaxed Cai Wei in front of him. Her mind had clearly not registered this sudden intrusion, and her beautiful gaze seemed a little dazed at the sight of Li Luo. The atmosphere suddenly seemed to freeze at this moment. Cai Wei immediately snapped to attention, sitting up straight as though she had been electrocuted. Her fair complexion was tinted with the red of embarrassment whilst her gaze stared coquettishly at Li Luo. Did no one ever teach you to knock before entering? Li Luo was currently dripping with cold sweat as he hastily nodded. I'm sorry, elder sister Cai Wei. I will definitely take note of this in the future. Seeing his respectful attitude, Cai Wei no longer felt ashamed but still asked brusquely, may I know what instruction the young lord has? Li Luo looked around sheepishly, making sure that no one else was around before carefully closing the door. I want to let elder sister Cai Wei see a certain treasure of mine, his voice was lowered, but before he could finish his sentence, he was shocked silly. This was because he saw Cai Wei whip out a gleaming bow, a dangerous smile on her beautiful egg-shaped face. "Young lord, before you do anything rash, don't forget that I'm also a resonant master." Frightened, Li Luo hastily waved his hands, bitterly smiling. "Elder sister Cai Wei, what do you mean? What are you trying to do?" A little taken aback as well, Cai Wei raised her eyebrow slightly as she asked curiously, all the while focused on Li Luo's every move, "Then just what sort of treasure of yours are you referring to?" Li Luo was a little confused at this turn of events. However, he didn't speak anymore and instead willed his resonant power to surge. In a blink, blue resonant power started to shroud his body, blazing upwards. The sight of the resonant power resembled waves of water flowing so much that one could literally imagine hearing it. He had revealed his 5th-grade water resonance. "Pa?" Cai Wei gradually lowered the bow in her hands as she asked in surprise, You have a resonance?" Li Luo nodded. "A 5th-grade one too?" Cai Wei was absolutely stupefied at this scene. Only after a good minute had passed did she finally react. "Is this the result of the secret art left behind by the 2 house lords?" Li Luo nodded in response. At this point, she came to her senses. Thinking of her previous actions, her face flushed a bright crimson red. Li Luo's previous words seemed to have held a deeper meaning, and she wasn't a naive youth, hence she was flustered and even thought that Li Luo was about to do something extremely unsavory. She felt incomparably embarrassed at this turn of events. Cai Wei, oh, Cai Wei. What a huge humiliation. Still, she was someone who had encountered all sorts of experiences and very quickly composed herself, smiling as though nothing had happened. "Congratulations, young lord." If Qing'e knew of this, she would be elated. Li Luo nodded. "There's only a little problem. Perhaps elder sister Cai Wei might have already guessed what it is. Do you still require spirit liquids and purifying lights?" Cai Wei frowned slightly after hearing his last sentence. Unfortunately, I will need 5th-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights. This resonance which my parents left behind requires endless amounts of spirit liquids and purifying lights to cultivate. Otherwise, it might very possibly dissipate. Li Luo did not want to mention the fact that he could endlessly temper his resonance with copious amounts of spirit liquids and purifying lights. If news of this were to spread, the situation would definitely turn grave, and he temporarily did not wish for this to be revealed, at least not until he could protect himself. 5th-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights, the frown on Cai Wei's face deepened to the point that even her 2 eyebrows were touching. 4th-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights roughly cost around 1,000 pieces of sky gold each. 5th-grade ones would easily cost over 5 times that. This was definitely an expensive consumable good. If Li Luo only required a few, then this would not be a problem. However, from experience, Cai Wei understood that what Li Luo needed was probably in the hundreds. This would not be a small sum. Cai Wei's expression was constantly changing as she struggled with this though. What was more surprising to Li Luo was that she did not find any reasons to push back and merely nodded. "I understand. I will do my best to carry out your instructions." She raised her head and saw Li Luo's absolutely flabbergasted expression before breaking out into a smile. "Did you think that I was going to reject you? You are the young lord of House Loulan. Everything belongs to you and Sister Qing'e. So long as you're not being coerced into it, whatever you want will become a reality. In any case, now that you have a resonance, you will finally be able to hold some influence within House Loulan. This is incomparable to the physical costs of these spirit liquids and purifying lights. How could I possibly reject your request?" Extremely touched, Li Luo passionately replied, "Elder sister Cai Wei. You're truly great at understanding others. In this case, could you please get me several dozen portions immediately?" Cai Wei began to massage her temples upon hearing Li Luo's excited follow-up. "Well, this can be done. It's just that if you require a similar amount again, we don't have the funds to purchase more. House Loulan's businesses in the Jiangsu province only brought in around 300,000 pieces of sky gold a year. The previous request for fourth-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights had already cost around 150,000 pieces of sky gold. After buying another 30 pieces or so, there would barely be any money left. Cai Wei sighed deeply. Young lord, I plan to sell off some of the businesses within the Jiangsu province. House Loulan does not have much strength within the Jiangsu province. Thus, many businesses can be considered burdens to us as we are unable to properly protect them. In a sense, we are overstaffed here. Combined with the suppression of the three families, if this were to continue, it would only result in a grievous loss to us whilst taking up precious resources. The key reason lies with the three families. The three of them have an alliance in place to deal with House Loulan jointly, as they all have similar goals. If we were to voluntarily offer up some businesses and execute this well, it could very possibly lead them to struggle amongst themselves. Ultimately, this will also breed internal strife when their benefits are compromised, making it harder for them to deal with House Loulan in a united fashion. Li Luo considered her point of view and nodded in agreement after a while. Elder sister Cai Wei is truly decisive. You are making a sacrifice for the greater good. I am honestly unfamiliar with such matters and will leave this in your wise hands. Regardless of what you choose to do, I will support your decision, Li Luo said in praise of her. I am truly thankful for your trust. Cai Wei gave a small smile. Li Luo waved his hands and then a thought suddenly came to mind. Oh, yes? Does the Jiangsu province have any resonance artificers? If I could craft my own, then it would undoubtedly be cheaper than buying them off the market, yes. Well, of course we have resonance artificers. House Loulan has businesses in every aspect of the economy. This sort of profession is always in demand as the supply of spirit liquids and purifying lights is never enough. Our House Loulan has plenty of resonance artificers who are able to craft third-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights. However, for those of a higher grade, the number of resonance artificers who are able to do so are a lot less, thus our production capabilities for that are also low. When it comes to fifth-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights, I'm afraid there is no one in Jiangsu province who is able to craft them. All of those that can be bought in the market have been imported from Xia City. A sudden revelation dawned upon Li Luo. Of course. Someone who could craft fifth-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights would be minimally a fifth-grade resonance artificer. Such individuals would only be found in cradles of civilization, the subject of any cultivator's worship. Why would they be hiding in such a desolate area like the Jiangsu province? It was natural that they were rarely seen here as a result. Can elder sister Cai Wei bring me to where House Loulan crafts their spirit liquids and purifying lights? I have a water resonance and thus would like to gain some knowledge about the path of a resonance artificer. The price of these tempering treasures was exorbitantly high, and he was only talking about fifth-grade ones. In the future, he would even require 7th, 8th, and even 9th-grade spirit liquids and purifying lights. Just how was he going to find them, much less pay for them? He also knew that in the entire Xia Kingdom, there were very few spirit liquids and purifying lights of the 7th grade and above sold each year. The only way would be to rely on himself. Thus, he had to make preparations to progress on the path of a resonance artificer. Cai Wei did not disagree. All right. I will take you there tomorrow. The next day, Li Luo attended South Wind Academy as per usual. When he entered the second school's training field, he could distinctly tell that the originally rowdy field had quietened down by quite a bit, numerous respectful gazes looking at him. The old Li Luo was not considered weak within the second school, only Jiang Qing'e could beat him after all. Truthfully speaking, what everyone felt towards him was only pity and nothing else. Why would they respect him? That made no sense. The way they saw it, Li Luo was decently strong, but he still had a blank palace. This meant that his resonant power was limited. It was just a matter of time before they would surpass him. However, Li Luo had demonstrated his acquired resonance in the competition yesterday, furthermore sweeping all three opponents from the first school in a single bout. This led them to understand that Li Luo was truly not on the same level as them. Although a 5th grade resonance was not considered high, it was more than sufficient. This combined with his talent in resonance arts was like adding wings to a tiger. The future Li Luo may not necessarily reach the absolute peak, but he would definitely rank in the upper echelons. Thus, who would dare to pity Li Luo even now? On top of that, he was also House Loulan's young lord. Just who had the right to pity someone so much better than them in every way? As they saw Li Luo walk past, certain students even took the initiative to greet him. Brother Luo. There were even some daring girls who complimented him directly. Brother Luo looks extraordinarily handsome today. Taking these greetings in his stride, Li Luo merely smiled at them before returning to his usual seat. At this point, even Jiang Qing'e was looking at him with a burning gaze. You're a man, right? Can you not look at me that way? Li Luo frowned. Jiang Qing'e chuckled as he feigned a melancholic expression. It looks like I have to give up my title of number 1 in the second school. Who cares about such trivialities? Set your sights further, Li Luo snapped. Further? In that case, all the best. Once you bring glory to Southwind Academy's males, we will cheer for you from the sidelines. Jiang Qing'e retorted. What do you mean? Jiang Qing'e angrily explained, didn't you know? The other academies of the Tianshu province have been constantly insulting us, saying that we are all feminine sissies, that we lack any form of manly vigor. Eastpool Academy is exceptionally hateful. They always take the initiative to mock the males of Southwind Academy. We first produced the legendary sister Qing'e, and now the strongest one of our generation is Lu Qing'e. It's as though we can only hide behind girls. 1. Of course, there were other academies in the Tianshu province. It was just that most of them were not as famous as Southwind Academy. In recent years, Eastpool Academy had risen through the ranks dramatically and was looking to contest for the title of the best academy in the Tianshu province. As the two were bantering, Xu Shanyu entered the training fields. It looked as though his mood wasn't bad, his usual, serious expression replaced with a smile. Good morning, students. The first school has kindly provided 10 gold leaves for the second school's use. From today onwards, we will have 10 more to distribute. Hearing Xu Shanyue's words, the class cheered in excitement. The final examinations were approaching, and these leaves might very well provide them with an opportunity to take another step forward. These gold leaves were obtained by Li Luo's solo victory. All of you should express your gratitude directly. After which, the entire class broke out into raucous applause. There were even some delicate and good-looking girls who shouted out bravely, "I'm willing to have lunch with you to express my thanks." Everyone could only stare in envy at his good fortune. Li Luo helplessly smiled, but deep down he sighed. He could not understand where their fascination in him lay and could only ignore their teasing. Xu Shanyu clenched his fist, signaling for everyone to settle down before proceeding on to the day's lesson. 3 hours later, the class ended and Li Luo approached Xu Shanyu, looking to take the afternoon off. You taking leave again? Xu Shanyu queried as he thought about the request. If this was in the past, he wouldn't have hesitated to reject his request. However, Li Luo had managed to beat the first school and had given him the credibility to stand tall against Liu Yang. Hence, he acceded to it. Sure. Do remember that the final examination is about to arrive and you've already missed out on a week of training. You need to quickly catch up, or there will be no hope in entering the Astral Sage College. Li Luo smiled and agreed, waving goodbye before quickly taking his leave. Outside the academy gates was a luxurious carriage, akin to a moving palace. As Li Luo made his way into it, he realized that Cai Wei was already sitting within, by the window. In her hand was a round-laced fan, lightly fluttering. Beside her was also a cup of piping hot tea, the entire scene accentuating her mature beauty. This, coupled with her beautiful curves and exquisite features, would absolutely captivate any mortal man. One could clearly see that Cai Wei was a lady with refined mannerisms. The choice of carriage was not only luxurious-looking but also comfortable, demonstrating her exceptional taste that was even better than Jiang Qing'e's. Li Luo had a feeling that Cai Wei's background was not simple. The only question here was why had she chosen to run all the way over to House Loulan to handle miscellaneous tasks. Have you eaten? I've prepared lunch for you. Cai Wei batted a glance at Li Luo, her slender, jade-like fingers beckoning at the table in front, which was currently laid with a sumptuous feast. Elder sister Cai Wei is truly too considerate. Whoever marries you will truly be blessed, Li Luo praised. Cai Wei was capable at managing the affairs of a family whilst being beautiful and mature. No matter how one looked at it, she was truly outstanding. Amongst the women he had met, in terms of attractiveness and temperament, Jiang Qing'e was the most extraordinary. Lu Qing'e and Cai Wei were both equal, with their own redeeming features. Your words are truly sweet. Cai Wei smiled as she beckoned for Li Luo to eat. At the same time, she continued to explain, our House Loulan has a specialized department whose purpose is to refine spirit liquids and purifying lights. It's known as the Sun Creek Villa, and it is decently well known throughout the market for their tempering treasures when we look within the Xia Kingdom. The Sun Creek Villa's headquarters is in Xia City and it has 3 branches spread throughout the Xia Kingdom. Coincidentally, one of these branches can be found in the city of Southwind. The Sun Creek Villa is responsible for a significant amount of the profits House Loulan rakes in yearly. Hence, within House Loulan, Pei Hao has also fought the hardest to take control of them, trying all means to do so. The president of this particular branch left some time ago for some reason and the position was left vacant for a while as a replacement could not be easily found. Pei Hao recruited the vice president and attempted to use him to take control of this branch. Luckily, Qing'e realized his plans and very quickly dispatched someone to clamp down on those moves. As a result, this branch of the Sun Creek Villa has some internal complications, ultimately affecting the amount of spirit liquids and purifying lights it produces. Pei Hao, that bastard. Truly a waste of air. Li Luo couldn't help but vent. He previously wasn't interested in these matters, but now that he had to utilize significant amounts of resources from the house, he realized just how much trouble that white-eyed wolf really was. If House Loulan had actually been united, then the amount of resources he could mobilize wouldn't just be this piddling 300,000 sky gold. Slightly depressed, the feast in front of him seemed to have lost some of its fragrance. The carriage passed through the crowded city of Southwind, eventually stopping at the northern part of the city. Li Luo and Cai Wei both got off the carriage. They could see a humongous pavilion in front of them with the Sun Creek Villa sign hung right in front. The Sun Creek Villa possessed strict security with numerous protectors, but they immediately made way and let the duo through once they spotted them. They entered the building unobstructed, and at this moment, a group arrived to receive them. Li Luo could see that this group was split into 2 factions. The group on the left was led by a smiling middle-aged man, while the group on the right was led by a lady that was amazingly beautiful, such that any man who saw her would instantly perk up with attention. She was an elegant young lady with a pretty complexion, a pert, high nose, and a pair of silver circular glasses. She had long hair that cascaded down her back and she carried an air of undisguised arrogance. At this moment, Cai Wei quickly brought Li Luo up to speed. The one on the left is Zhuang Yi, is the vice president dispatched by Pei Hao. The beauty on the right is Yang Lingqing. She is a genius resonance artificer from Astral Sage College. She is also Qing'e's close confidant. She is currently a 4th grade resonance artificer and also one of Qing'e's reinforcements. Li Luo seemed a little shocked at this as he couldn't help but to stare at the slender, glasses-wearing, cold, and arrogant beauty. He would never have expected that she was also from Astral Sage College, the place he had always dreamed of attending. What Zhao Kui actually says is that the men of Southwind Academy possess strong yin energy and feeble yang energy. Because females are traditionally yin and men yang. While Li Luo was still in shock at that bombshell revelation, the 2 groups reached the duo. Welcome to the Sun Creek Villa, young Lord and General Manager Cai Wei. Keek. Your presence here truly illuminates our humble dwelling. The one named Zhuang Yi immediately rattled off the top of his tongue, an honest and enthusiastic look on his face. Compared to his hearty reception, Yang Lingqing was much cooler in response. She merely glanced at Cai Wei before taking a quick look at Li Luo. following which, she stuck her hands in her pocket. It didn't seem like she was planning to introduce herself. Vice President Zhuang Yi's words are too kind. The young lord is here to take a look at his house's businesses. There's nothing special about this after all. Cai Wei gave a small smile. Zhuang Yi was stunned for a moment before he hastily smiled and nodded. It was I who spoke out of turn. After which, he rushed to Li Luo and greeted him respectfully before excusing himself politely and heading off to settle his other matters. Li Luo took in all of this and realized it was clear that Zhuang Yi was fully supporting Pei Hao. Hence, when they first met, despite Zhuang Yi's warm reception, he kept his distance and remained on guard. This was clearly something that was faked. On the other hand, despite the cold reception from Yang Lingqing, she still continued to stay with the duo, and did not look to get away at the first opportunity. However, after seeing Zhuang Yi speedily leaving, her expression turned slightly gentle. Elder sister Cai Wei, may I kindly know why you are here today? Her voice was crisp and sweet, sounding like a gentle stream flowing, pleasant to the ear. Cai Wei walked forward and tightly grasped Yang Lingqing's forearms before smiling as well. I brought the young lord here to take a look around. Both of them possessed amazing temperaments and were matchless beauties, hence when they stood side by side, it was a feast for the eyes. At the same time, it also allowed one to clearly see the differences between the two. If Cai Wei was like the vast mountain ranges, with large humps that protruded from the ground, then Yang Lingqing was more similar to the massive plains where horses roamed. As Li Luo's gaze swept past the two of them, his conspicuous actions were inadvertently spotted by Yang Lingqing. Her snow-white chin raised slightly as she said disdainfully, "Little brother, just what are you trying to compare?" Li Luo could only innocently blink his eyes at that accusation. Without caring further, Yang Lingqing huffed and dragged Cai Wei away. Li Luo didn't really mind either and did his best to keep up. As they entered the depths of the Sun Creek Villa, they walked onto a bridge. When one stood upon the bridge, they were able to see that there were two refining platforms that spanned countless levels. Each level of these refining platforms was split into numerous smaller rooms. Each room had a transparent, crystal wall, and peering through it would allow one to see countless individuals dressed in white busily working. Peering closer inside each room, there was a table laid out with numerous transparent crystal bottles. These white-garbed individuals were taking all sorts of bottles and canisters, constantly concocting something. Occasionally, these crystal bottles would emit a blue light, signifying the creation of a spirit liquid or purifying light. Elder sister Cai Wei, there are 2 4th grade, 9 3rd grade, 16 2nd grade, and 33 1st grade resonance artificers in this branch of the Sun Creek Villa. Li Luo continued to peer curiously as Yang Lingqing's crystal-clear voice explained. Hearing this, he smirked inside. Cai Wei was the general manager and naturally already knew of these matters, and hence it was clear that she was only saying this for his benefit. Jiang Qing'e's bosom friend here may seem quite cool and uncaring, but she was actually a nice person at heart. At the same time, he understood that she was doing this for Jiang Qing'e's sake. They continued to walk and observe the surroundings as they made their way to Yang Lingqing's workspace. This was her refining workshop. I suppose elder sister Cai Wei isn't here just to see me. At this point, she removed her outer robes, revealing a simple outfit within which outlined her slender curves. Her gaze was currently fixated on the refining platform, her thoughts focused upon it. It's because of the young lord. Cai Wei gave a wry smile. He wants to become a resonance artificer. Yang Lingqing gave her a curious look and asked, "Isn't he?" She didn't finish her words, but the implication was clear. Wasn't Li Luo a natural blank palace? Why was there a need to become a resonance artificer? Cai Wei lightly patted Li Luo and directed a mischievous expression toward him. Go and start your show. Let's give our little genius the greatest shock of her life. Li Luo was speechless at Cai Wei's attempt to tease her friend. However, he activated his resonance, causing water-resonant power to gradually arise around him. This is a water resonance. Yang Lingqing was truly surprised at this turn of events, so much so that she propped up her glasses on her pert, little nose. You have a resonance? What? Li Luo nodded and sincerely said, "This is a 5th grade water resonance, and I want to learn some resonance artificing arts in order to become a resonance artificer." After hearing his request, Yang Lingqing's eyebrows knitted together in slight confusion. Isn't it almost time for South Wind Academy's final examination? Why are you not bitterly cultivating? Why don't you try your best to get into the Astral Sage College before we discuss any further? After all, the Astral Sage College has the Resonance Tempering Hall, where you can learn from many excellent teachers. Li Luo could only smile sheepishly. I want to start familiarizing myself with this. Yang Lingqing seemed to have understood something upon hearing Li Luo's reply. Even though Li Luo had manifested a resonance, it was true that this was a little too late. With his current strength, he might not be able to make it into the Astral Sage College, and it would only be a matter of time before he would embark on the path of a resonance artificer. He still had a way out. It's rare that the young lord wishes to improve so fervently. I kindly beseech this genius to guide him, Cai Wei added in. Yang Lingqing rolled her eyes at Cai Wei's comments, immediately placing a crystal bottle in front of Li Luo. I believe you should have some rudimentary understanding of what resonance artificers do, yes? Seeing that Yang Lingqing was going to teach him, he quickly nodded. Ever since he obtained his water resonance, he spent some of his free time reading up and learning foundational knowledge on this subject. At this point, Yang Lingqing flicked her finger and a line of blue resonant power shot out of her index finger towards a bundle of books, adhering to it. With another flick, the books were thrown right in front of Li Luo. Read all of this. Li Luo didn't say much but simply got to work immediately, sitting down at the table and delving into the subject matter. Why don't you take a seat? I have some things I need to do, Yang Lingqing lightly said to Cai Wei after seeing Li Luo obediently begin his study without any indication of impatience. Following which, she proceeded to continue with the work that required her attention. Cai Wei, on the other hand, lazily stretched and took a seat, quickly dozing off. At the same time, within another room of the Sun Creek Villa. What have the young lord and the general manager been up to? Zhuang Yi was sitting on his seat, questioning an individual in front of him. Nothing much. They took a walk and were observing things before heading back to Vice President Yang's workshop, the person replied. Zhuang Yi nodded. Tail them closely. Watch out for whoever they interact with and take note of these people. The most important thing now is to ensure I become the president of this branch. Once I'm successful, I can chase away Yang Lingqing and all of her people. At that point, everything will be in my control. Understood? Zhuang Yi waved his hand and that individual retreated. A chilling smile appeared on his face. Jiang Qing'e, did you think that finding a little wench from your school would be enough to stop me? Let me tell you the truth. You're just dreaming. This branch of the Sun Creek Villa belongs to me, Zhuang Yi. This video will end here.